So let's talk about something that's at the very heart of, well, everything you experience. We're going to explore this really fascinating idea that your own mind seems to point beyond a universe made of just matter. Okay, let's just dive right in with a real head scratcher. If every thought you're having right now is just atoms bumping into each other in your brain, just physics and chemistry, then on what basis do you trust that any of those thoughts are actually true? It's a huge problem, and thinkers have been wrestling with it for a long, long time. To really get to the bottom of this, we have to start with the one thing you know more intimately than anything else, which is also one of the biggest mysteries in the entire universe: your own mind. So what exactly is consciousness? I mean, it's not just the data your brain is processing. It's your subjective, private inner world. It's that feeling of warmth from the sun, or the memory of a first kiss, the sting of guilt, or just that gut feeling that some things are right and some are wrong. It's literally what it's like to be you. Now, this is a really crucial distinction. A supercomputer, right? It can process 1 trillion bits of data about the color red, its wavelength, its frequency, all of it. But it doesn't experience red. It doesn't feel anything. You do. That first-person subjective feeling, that's the core of the whole mystery. And that mystery, well, it creates a massive challenge for the worldview that says matter is all there is. We'll call that view naturalism. See, if naturalism is true, then everything, and I mean everything, including your brain and all your thoughts, has to ultimately just be physics. It's nothing more than particles and energy, all governed by mindless, purposeless laws. And this is where the problem becomes so clear. Just think about the properties of matter. An atom has mass, it has charge, it has spin. But it has no inner life. Atoms don't feel joy looking at a sunset. They don't grieve a loss. They just are. So here's the million-dollar question. How do you get a mind from non-mind? How does mindless, unfeeling matter suddenly just wake up and start experiencing things? This is what philosophers call the hard problem of consciousness. And honestly, for a purely materialist worldview, it's a huge, maybe even unbridgeable gap. But let's shift gears for a second. What if we've been looking at the starting point of reality all wrong? Theism, for example, proposes a totally different foundation for everything. Instead of starting with mindless matter and trying to work your way up to a mind, it starts with a supreme eternal mind, a conscious, rational, moral source that we call God. And if that's your starting point, then our own consciousness is no longer some bizarre thing that just popped out of nowhere. Actually, it's exactly what you'd expect to find. Consciousness stops being a problem you have to explain away. It's a fundamental feature of reality itself. In this view, which you've probably heard expressed in the idea that humans are made in the image of God, your mind is a finite reflection of the infinite mind that created it. It's not some cosmic glitch. It's a clue. It's designed to connect with reality. But the mystery of consciousness isn't the only issue here. Let's pivot from the problem of feeling to the problem of thinking. I mean, can you actually trust your own reason? This quote, which C.S. Lewis loved to use, just nails it. If your thoughts are nothing but chemical fizz, why on earth should you assume they're logically sound? A chemical reaction can be, well, a chemical reaction. But that's completely different from a thought being logically true. A philosopher named Alvin Plantinga took this idea and formalized it into what he calls the evolutionary argument against naturalism. Let's walk through it real quick. Step 1. If our brains are just the product of unguided evolution, their main purpose isn't finding truth, it's survival. A belief doesn't have to be true to help you survive, it just has to be useful. Step 2. If that's the case, we have no real reason to be confident our minds are aimed at truth. Step 3. This doubt then infects every belief our mind produces, including the belief in naturalism and unguided evolution itself, which leads to the final conclusion. The belief system basically eats itself from the inside out. This slide really lays it out clearly side by side. On the one hand, you've got a mind that evolved for one thing, utility. Truth is, at best, a happy accident. On the other hand, you have a mind designed for the purpose of knowing truth, in a universe that was also designed to be knowable. The entire practice of science seems to assume that the second column is the one that's correct. So where does all this leave us? What are our unique mental abilities actually telling us about the universe we're living in? When you just step back and look at it, our ability for abstract reason, our experience of deep, selfless love, our inescapable sense of right and wrong, These things just feel so out of place in a cosmos that's supposed to be just a random collection of particles. They almost feel like signposts, pointing to a different kind of reality. You know, the founders of modern science, guys like Johannes Kepler, they didn't see any conflict here at all. Kepler literally believed that when he was discovering the mathematical laws of the planets, he was thinking God's thoughts after him. He assumed the universe was rational because its creator was rational, and that our minds could understand that rationality because they were made in that creator's image. And really, that brings us to the central idea of this whole explainer. The very existence of your conscious, rational mind is maybe the most powerful clue we have that reality is more than just mindless matter. It's a pointer. So when you follow your own thoughts all the way down, where do they end? Not in a silent, empty cosmos. No, they echo a source. They point beyond an impersonal it to a personal someone. So, far from being enemies, our ability to reason and the very foundations of faith might actually depend on each other. It's like they're two different signposts, standing right next to each other on the same road, pointing to the exact same ultimate reality. Thanks for tuning in.